Welcome to another wonderful episode of the program Sports Preview, proudly sponsored by MaxBet. Here's www.maxbet.ng are the proud sponsors. A platform that offers you a 100% bonus on your very first deposit, and you can also get up to 300 naira just for registering on MaxBet. On this episode today, we're talking about the Premier League games that will be coming through for Saturday. Yes, a Saturday comprises of very amazing fixtures that will be coming, ranging from Manchester City taking on Tottenham Hotspur. We'll see AFC Bournemouth, who will take on West Bromwich, who will take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. It will be Brentford up against Aston Villa. Of course, also, there'll be Burnley, who takes on Sunderland. Before we'll see Arsenal up against Leeds United, completes all the games for Saturday. My name is Orji of FW, and it is amazing that I will be doing this alone. I will be talking about these very interesting games with the man CI Zoro.
My brother, man.
CI, amazing. Day to talk about football yet again on Sports Preview. Amazingly, the season is starting up well. Two of the biggest winners from the opening weekend, I'm talking about the Premier League season, they are colliding. Manchester City and, of course, Tottenham Hotspur. Under Frank, they've had a total change. We saw them against Paris Saint-Germain, good team. And also in the last encounter, they showed the prospect. And, of course, we saw City running away 4 goals to nothing in that match against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And I feel this is the game where these two teams will be tested. After the disappointment from the Club World Cup for Manchester City, Pep Guardiola hammering on reducing the size of his squad. Thomas Frank understanding that he needs to bring in some legs. Eberechi is not working out like we just heard. Arsenal have hijacked the deal. Let's talk about this game. I feel like these are two sides that will challenge, if not for the title, for the top 4 or the top 6. They are both playing in Champions League. City are playing Champions League because of where they finished last season. Tottenham won the Europa League. They are in the Champions League. What are we to expect when these two managers clash?
Let's start from the fact that Manchester City has been delivering entertainment-based matches with Tottenham for almost a decade. And then away from that, their previous 15 head-to-heads, I beg your pardon, their previous 15 head-to-heads has had Manchester City, being on a decline. Now, the last time they had this particular, match, Tottenham won Manchester City 4-0. You get, and then having a whooping 14 goals against 1 goal in favor of Manchester City on their home ground still does not elude the fact that Tottenham has proven over time to be very resilient. Now, we saw Tottenham's performance over PSG. Yes, PSG got the light of the day at the end of the day, but then, I still feel like Tottenham has a point to prove, having Richarlison being at the topmost form at this particular point, scoring goals, creating impact, and then, of course, not forgetting Erling Haaland, who has equally, been very resilient on his own part, who has equally scored goals, even at the openers for this season. I think it's going to be an entertaining match, first off, but I equally want to think that they would have a very competitive match that would leave both sides scoring at the end of the day.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Interestingly, City will be without Ederson. Ederson will be involved. The Savinho also because of the ongoing transfer interest, while Rafael Foden, Josko Gvardiol, and of course Rodri. That means Wolves game. Spurs have no new injuries, but they remain without James Maddison. And that is some of the issues where they'll be bordering. Let me still just let you know that City have won their first home league game in each of the last 4 seasons by an aggregate of 14-1. When is the first game at home in the season? City are specialists to execute that one. Pep Guardiola has only suffered one defeat against Liverpool than Tottenham. You know, just
Well, they've had
Tottenham is the team.
11 wins.
You know,
and
so Tottenham is the team that beats him like the most in the league. So he would be very much focused on his approach about a game like this. Also, it will be good to point out that Tottenham have failed to win any of their last 6 away league matches. As you're going away for Spurs is a Herculean task, and we expect to see that. 4 of Tottenham's first goals this season have come between
35 to
70
70.
and these are issues they will look at and will begin to wonder who will be carrying the day on a day like that. Visitors Tottenham have made an impressive start under Thomas Frank, so we'll see what they will be doing. And just like rightly said, it will be a game to probably evaluate what their plans are for the season. But it's a little worrisome that MaxBet is saying it's 1.53 for City and 6.16 odds for Spurs to win. That tells you about the wide margin that exists between these two, according to the predictor, with all indices considered. But we never can tell. 62% win probability for City as against 18 leaves Tottenham on a side where we begin to wonder if they can do it in this game. But we'll wait to see what will come to the MaxBet Show Banker Bet segment. CI will be aiding us with top-notch predictions of what he is expecting. He hinted about it, but we'll get there. Arsenal. We've heard news about Eberechi Eze and Arsenal, and they will be taking on Leeds United. Two sides who were 1-0 winners in the opening weekend of the Premier League season. They are facing off on the match day 2 as Arsenal host Leeds. Arsenal were 1-0 winners over a very, very resilient Manchester United. And then we saw Leeds United winning by a long goal up against Everton. And that brings these two sides now to look like, okay, we are facing off. But with all the transfers around Arsenal, I don't think they should be struggling against any side in the league this season.
Yeah, let's judge by their last 42 games. Talking about Arsenal, they've been very resilient. They've been unbeaten in the last 42 games. Home games. Yes, I beg your pardon, home games. And then I think Arsenal has equally avoided defeats. In each of their last 14 head-to-heads, where they've got 12 wins and about 2 draws. That's quite impressive. Leeds, on the other hand, they started off well this season. I wouldn't lie, but then I feel like they have been beaten on 10 of their last 12 Premier League games. And then it's quite unfortunate that they've kept to keep a clean sheet in any of those any of those games so far, and then 14 of them of such matches. Talking about their away. I feel it's going to be a very tough match. Like I said, it started off very, very interesting because they are one of those clubs that came from the Championship, and then on their first outing on the Premier League this particular season won their own match.
Even against already I think that stayed up last season.
Yes.
Now, Leeds United have won 7 successive games, keeping 5 clean sheets in the process, and that's huge. And we'll see what they can get on that one. Okay, let's take a good look at these teams and understand. We also know that Gabriel Jesus was joined on the treatment table by Kai Havertz this week, and that's a little worrisome from the Arsenal point of view. But you can agree that an addition of Eberechi Eze will make the feeling of the fact that a player like Havertz is not available.
But I think the Havertz thing is not his fault, but it's getting a bit too much because for the better part of late last season, where he was mostly needed, he was not available.
Yeah.
And then right now at the earliest part of the season, he's nowhere to be found, and his possibility is going to be very, very long.
Yeah, if you listen to football players talk about their journey with injuries, you understand that one injury begat another. That is to say, let's say you had an ACL, you're laid off for long, take 6 months off the game. When you come back, your muscles and the rest of your body struggle to readjust to that top form level. And if you're not careful, you could have another part of your body fail you in the process of recovery. So it's just a long, long journey. And I can tell you something for free that these players they mismanage their health sometimes when they are on break.
Exactly.
Eat things they shouldn't eat, not stick to their diet, but you don't blame them. It's family time. Your child will put a sweet in your mouth and you throw it away when you've been away for as
For the
long as
longest.
8 months. So you're just going to eat what the kids are eating, play with them. They can keep your leg in a certain uncomfortable position because they all want to sit on a leg that is not fully recovered. Like I feel like you're not going to push your kids away because you've had an injury there. You're just going to bite your lips and sit with them and try to see, just about how they want to chill with you because it's going to be maybe another 8 months before you have such family time. I mean, they are busy with studies, the weather is not favorable, and all whatnot. So I feel these things are challenges on the side that affects the game, and we can't take it away. Injuries very much part of the game. But let's talk about Arsenal for a side going into this game. Where do you think this game will be going? You feel Arsenal have got all upper hand because they win probability is saying 70 as against 12.
They had a convincing win over Manchester United. The last one at the openers.
It was scrappy. It was scrappy if you ask me. Just 1-0.
It was for a Manchester United team that equally had new signings to. I think it was a convincing win. You wouldn't have expected a clean sheet at that particular level. I think for Michael Arteta right now, I think what really matters is the points, not how much goals you're scoring, but the points. Because he has been there, he has wanted to create this particular history of finally winning the Premier League just after a lot of attempts, as much as 2, 3, 4 attempts.
And I think the time to start is now.
You get it. So at this particular point, it's no longer about how many goals you're scoring, but it's about how many clean sheets you are able to have. Now, I think with this particular one, I think Arsenal might really have a lot of things to say. And with the addition of that might eventually play for Arsenal on that particular match, I think it's going to be another different level.
Yeah, we'll see what happens when these two sides collide. Of course, we'll get to the match ratio back-up segment. It will be time for you to come through with those. We'll come through for you with those predictions that you have been expecting. But of course, we've come to that point where you have been waiting for. Don't forget that the program is sponsored by MaxBet. It's www.maxbet.ng, a platform with a 100% bonus for you, up for grabs. Remember, 300 now is just waiting. If you can register at www.maxbet.ng, then you stand a chance to get start winning big with all the predictions that will be dropping. Welcome to the MaxBet Show Banker Bet segment. CI will just start it up, of course. City of the scores.
City is going to be a draw match. It's an over 1.5.
1.5. I feel like the match is going to end in a draw.
That's what.
Oh, really? Draws are of high volume. So let's look at it. A draw in this game will give you a 4.60 odds according to MaxBet. That's a whopping sum of odds that you cannot afford to miss. According to CI0, the game is ended in a draw. So you can even be sure it's a score draw because it's saying over 1.5 also alongside that prediction. What do you think about AFC Bournemouth when they take on Wolverhampton Wanderers?
I think it's going to be a Wolverhampton's win.
Over 200
surprisingly,
it's up against AFC Bournemouth. Okay, we'll see what happens. Wolves is on a 24% winning probability, and they've got another whopping 4.44 odds on MaxBet. So that's about 8 odds if you can combine, if you trust what CI0 I can offer on a day like this. Let's look at also Brentford, the Bees, when they take on Aston Villa. It is important also to look at that one. Some bookmakers are looking at that one. Some are saying a Villa win is a very sensible choice to go for. What's your take as Aston Villa play away from home against Brentford?
Yes, Aston Villa has equally proven a point, but then I feel like Brentford is still not that little kid to want to overlook. So I would say it's an over 1.5 street.
Okay, for 1.5 million, a minimum of 2 goals will be scored in that particular fixture, in his opinion. Just go fast forward to two newcomers. I'm talking about Burnley, the Clarets, who will be taking on Sunderland, the Black Cats, in another interesting fixture. It's important to also understand that very high level that Sunderland came through last weekend, winning 3 goals to nothing against the Premier League side in West Ham United. When I'm saying Premier League side in context, I'm trying to say a team who played Premier League last season. They are newcomers. But now 2 newcomers go head to head. A couple of persons are saying win probability is higher for Burnley than for Sunderland, especially looking at their head to heads in the past. What's your take on
I think it's a Sunderland thing.
Sunderland
Sunderland has shown resilience. Come on, 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals against a team that has maintained its stay in the Premier League. Come on.
Okay, of course, we see the last one on the list when Arsenal takes on Leeds United. The win probability for Arsenal in this one is 70 as against 12. What's your prediction?
It's a straight win for us.
Okay, straight to win for Arsenal. Don't take it all. We're thinking about it. Mike said it's 1.30 odds for Arsenal on MaxBet and a 10.90 odd for these very strong Leeds United side as it stands now. So we'll see what happens. And Arsenal straight away is a prediction from CI Zoro. Don't forget, we can't get to play this elsewhere Wednesday because on MaxBet our bonuses are higher. There is a winning registration bonus that is opening there for you just for registering. And 100% for any amount of money that you decide to deposit on your MaxBet account. Just log on to www.maxbet.ng and then you can start wearing big. And that is what I say. Often I tell you that betting Nigeria is for 18 years and above, and remember to bet responsibly with your spare money. And don't bet with money that you cannot afford to lose because, of course, you know how we do. But I can assure you that every day is a payday on MaxBet. Thank you very much, CI Zoro, for those predictions. Last week was not fun. Our predictions were done. But all the same, we hope that this week will be a week where everything will turn green.
It's a Premier League where anything can happen.
Yeah, but believe we're going to have green this season, this particular weekend this season. Thank you very much for being a part of this one. I thank you once again. Of course, to you who have been watching all through, thank you. Make sure that you turn on the notification button. Make sure that you share the video. Of course, you can also stick to this one, subscribe so that you can see this kind of video and even more. We say thank you to the cast and crew. We say who was very much behind the camera. We say thank you. And of course, just like I told you, it's MaxBet, MaxBet.ng, so you can start playing. Adios.